It's called Mad Black Dad Podcast. It's been a minute. Welcome to another episode of Mad Black Dad Podcast. I am Mad Black Dad, and we have my friend Sean here. He's going to be hanging out with us for the next few episodes. So, get to know him, and we'll kind of get this underway. We got a lot of stuff to cover. It's been a while. So, how have you been, man? I don't think I've actually seen you since New Year's.
Yeah, man. February 17th is the day we're recording this today. But yeah, New Year, that was a good party, man.
Yeah, no, I had a lot of drinks.
Yeah, I know Leah looking at you like you're gonna.
I promise I wasn't drunk, but I had more than I expected. It was good. Yeah. The vibes was good. Everybody was really cool. So, that always makes for a good time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We gotta do it again.
Yeah, we could do it again. So what have we done since then? Oh no, I did see you after New Year's because
we did a happy hour.
The first For Dads Only happy hour.
Yeah, that was great, man.
So thanks. I was just about to ask, how'd you like it?
Yeah, no, it was good. It's I think like mothers, they usually have a strong community, right? Because their community develops all the way from the start of their pregnancy to, having the kid and then through toddler age. And men, we're involved. Fathers were obviously involved in our child's lives.
Yeah.
But, the community aspect of it isn't as present, I would say, as, mothers. So it was just good to gather and blow off some steam for some instances, but also embrace, fatherhood in that way. And, it's always good when there's drinks involved and there's good people. So it was a good time. Yeah. Looking forward to next week when we have the next one.
Yeah, I'm super excited. The next For Dads Only happy hour is February 24th. From 6 to 8, that's a Friday, back at Deep Roots Experience. So yeah, we'll see y'all there. You can register on Eventbrite for the tickets. It's absolutely free. All I ask is that you bring an article of clothing to donate. Could be a shirt, could be a pair of pants, could be a brand new, pack of socks. It doesn't take much.
That's men's and boys clothing.
Yeah, men's and boys. You're talking about the experience in the community that fathers really don't have. And I think it's crazy because there's so many dads. There's so many dads, and we just don't branch out. We don't reach out and talk to each other. And we've just found ourselves on these islands.
Oh yeah. Especially, partners that have a myriad of situations. And what I noticed is, and not to put anybody on the spot there, but there are fathers who might have been dealing with separations or divorce, and they have older children and younger children, new dads, and seemed like they were in a way looking for support and answers, and and there were some instances where people have already been through that. And you don't see that a lot. I know, my personal friend group, I have friends who have been divorced and got married again, and all those kinds of situations. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you need someone more local to kind of talk to. And I'm not saying that, it was trauma dumping there, because it absolutely wasn't. It was a bonding experience for sure. But, it was good to have someone in your corner just in case.
Absolutely. And like you said, the guys came from different backgrounds. We all had some different experiences, and knowing that, you went through something too. It kind of changes things, and it changes your perspective. Cause I think that, especially we live in this age of social media, it's all you see is the good stuff. Cause I'm not putting all of my, trials and tribulations on display. But you're gonna see these kid pics, and everybody looks happy. You're gonna see my new job, or every milestone, but nobody's seeing the struggle that it took to get there, or not even just the struggle, but like the whole journey. So being able to like sit down and talk with some people that are willing to share about their journey, the ups and the downs, it just kind of gives like a 360 view of like who each other are. And it does build more community and bonding. And I think we need more of that.
Yeah, for sure.
We need more of that. And, you know, mixing it with a couple good drinks kind of makes it a little bit more fun.
Mm-hmm.
So,
you got the same drink sponsor next week, huh?
We do have the same drink sponsor. I actually have a meeting coming up to see if, you know, what else we can do. Originally, we were going to try to have a bartender there to just kind of teach everybody how to make like one signature drink. So you know, you have something in your repertoire. You can take it back home. Like, okay, babe, I went to this thing and, you know, all these guys are there. It was great. And we talked about dad stuff and we talked about sports and, you know, we talked about mental health, but I also learned how to make this drink. So it was really dope. And these are the things I want to be able to, you know, provide for us. 'Cause there's a whole bunch of mommy classes and there's a whole bunch of, you know, things that are catered to, women and mothers, and I don't hear as much of the things that are available for men, because I'm sure they're out there, but like, let's just be the change we want to see and just kind of create it for each other. And that's kind of the point of it.
Yeah, and like, I think there's like a wave of, especially for Black dads, where, you know, we are actually doing a pretty good job.
You know, contrary to what the numbers and the statistics of people are trying to say, like, no, we're here. We're not just active. Like I have such difficulty with, you know, oh, this dad is present or this dad is active, as if it's like it's a stamp. But no, this is these children or child for, you know, whichever your story is this is my responsibility. So like, you know, you don't get a stamp for, oh, you're an active employee. Like, no, I'm supposed to be this employee, you know? Not to say that, you know, parenting is a job, but it does have its deal of work. But it's my responsibility. I wanted this child to be here and I'm trying to cultivate this life. So I'm not just an active participant, but, you know, I've invested in this. This is something that I've created and I want to, you know, see grow. Yeah,
there was an article a while ago about how like Black dads are the most present across like all races, and I thought that was particularly interesting because, you know, if you go scroll on your TikTok feed, it's like all these jokes of like Black dads who aren't present.
Yeah,
where's your dad? And it's like not there. You see them.
I want to get into TikTok because I'm so tired of TikTok. I try to scroll it. I try to, you know, I think I try to use it for like some inspiration or maybe just like a brain dump or something like that. But I'm so tired of like parenting TikTok, because when you look at the white families, they got all these weird and, you know, eclectic things that they're doing with their families or with their kids, and these cool videos and stuff like that. Well, some of them, a lot of them are really corny, but you know, there's some cool things out there and parent hacks and all of that stuff. But then if I like look at Black parents, it's like, how did I survive trauma to become a parent? My mother used to beat me. My daddy wasn't there. Like, why is that all that we produce or feel like is
or it's
worthy
like
of content?
Black discipline.
Yeah.
And you're just like, all right.
And guys putting on a bonnet and a robe and acting like, you know, they're chasing their mother down. Like I don't like it. I don't like it. I mean, there is a sense of truth there for a lot of people. And there is a piece of comedy in that space, but boy, oh boy, that's not all that like Black parenting is. That's not all it is. And most of for me at least, like what I'm trying to do with Dom and with Dion is not all stemming from, you know, trauma and past abuse. Like my parents had their flaws, you know, and we'll go with that. But for the most part, they're pretty decent. Like I don't, you know, I'm not harboring all of this hate that I need to turn into comedy, you know, from what my parents did as they tried to raise me and my siblings.
Right. And, from my perspective, when I'm, parenting Cash, is there's lessons to take. And sure, some of it might have come from not having access when I was a child, but like that's the whole point in a way. It's
Yeah.
like, my parents put me in a position where I am able to provide a little better. And that's pretty much the goal is like, how do you make the next generation better? So I
That
recognize that.
that's my thing as well. Like everything I do for my kids, at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, no matter how far I go personally or professionally, or in my marriage or in parenting, whatever, I want my kids to be able to like stand on my shoulders and then up it the next level.
Yeah.
Ideally, I want it to be to a point where, hopefully like long after I'm dead and gone, that Dom is a better human than I am. That Dion is a
Yeah.
better human than I am. They'll be more loving and more accepting and also more assertive.
Yeah.
You know, and be more protective of themselves and their family. I want them to, whatever I do, if I do it at 100 and that's the best that I could put out, then I want them to be able to take that and then like double it or, just grow
Yeah.
from there.
Yeah. And I don't want Cash to solve like my faults,
Yeah.
I find myself in that often where it's like, oh, my father didn't do this, so I'm going to try to do the complete opposite. Or he was like this, but at the same time, it's like you start to realize that, damn, I'm kind of just like my dad.
and I love my dad, but I don't want to be just like my dad.
Yeah. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was like, my dad was quiet. My dad, he provided, but he was quiet. And then I find myself in the same kind of mode where I'm just like, let things smooth over, and then I'll provide when I need to provide. And I was like, yeah, I'm kind of the same way. So it's kind of weird that there are some things you just can't get away from.
Yeah.
Maybe it's genetically.
I think so. Like even like all the way down to like some of the mannerisms, it's just I can't escape it. Even if I tried to, somehow like I had this idea like, nope, I'm gonna do the complete opposite, and somehow I'm like right here looking at my parents dead in the face, and I'm like, this isn't this is literally the opposite of what I want.
For sure.
But I think that's important to an extent, because that means hopefully that's the good stuff, or at least stuff that works. But I don't ever want, like you said, I don't want Dom or Dion to say, well, mom and dad did this or daddy did this and it's not for me. It was terrible. I actually hated it. And I have trauma behind it. So now I need to I don't know, years of therapy to fix it.
Right. Yeah, that is something I constantly think about. Like, definitely don't want to go to therapy for anything that I've caused.
Yeah, I also, and because of that, I just really try to watch what I'm doing, and what I'm saying. So and now we're at this point where I need to watch what toys we're bringing in. Or I'm an avid video game enthusiast because I don't really get to play as much as I'd like to, but I now have to really tailor. All right, what toys are we buying? Okay, Nerf guns. Okay, Nerf guns are cool, but now I found out Nerf guns are not as cool as we thought they were. Or if I'm playing Call of Duty, I need to make sure okay, it's time for him to be upstairs or somewhere else. Because we had this crazy thing a while back. He was at school, and I think it was art class or something. I'm not really sure. And this boy drew a picture of a gun.
I remember you telling me about this.
And the teacher called. She called Leah, and Leah didn't, couldn't get it. Well, Leah was in a meeting she was in a building that she didn't have signal. So it's like, it's not getting through. So she gets like the voicemail. So Leah texts me like, your son is drawing pictures of guns. I'm like, what are you talking about? What do you mean?
Mm-hmm.
So Leah has to go to the school. She talks to, says, okay, well, this is what happened. Like, we bought some Nerf guns and we kind of shoot them in the house, but we stopped playing with them, ever since the baby was born. So now we're looking at like, it's been maybe about 8 months at the time. 7-8 months since Dom's like seen them or really played with them.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to accidentally shoot her, or we don't want her to like pick them up and try to eat them because now she's crawling and all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. So like, no, we're just gonna put them away. So, but he didn't have the words to really articulate that to the teacher. And of course, with today's society, you really got to watch out, so the teacher's like on high alert. So, but the teacher, because we, go to parent-teacher conferences. So she's like, okay, let's like talk this out. So we explained it to, Leah explained it to the teacher, and she's like, oh, okay, no, that makes sense. So now we're like, all right, no more guns. Mm-hmm. No more guns in the house. No toy guns, no picture guns. Let's, we're watching BMF. Okay, well, maybe Dom needs to go upstairs, because he's soaking up everything. And I'd hate for him to soak up something that, it just becomes a detriment to him. So it's a crazy world, man.
Yeah, I think I'm not trying to be one of those blame the internet kind of guys, but the whole Chief Keef video set off a major trend.
Oh my goodness!
I was like, whoa, it's kind of weird because probably that actually happens, but also this is when you mix something that is like good sounding and because it was a great song.
It had a sound.
But influence plays a very big part. Like Cash will watch Mickey Mouse and then can recite the song 2 days later. And you got to be constantly cognizant of that. But in a way, you want to have a balance of exposure and protection. Yeah. So, but also like drawing the line with logic of like, this is good, this is bad, this is what you should draw influence from, and in a positive way, and what not to be involved with without making it desirable.
Absolutely. So like, sometimes in the car, one of Dom's favorite songs is, what is it called? I think it's called Collect Call by Yo Gotti. Mm-hmm. And it's like ring, two-way call, and some other stuff. But like, that's Dom's joint. Like, okay, so he was singing, he know the words. We're like, okay, nope, can't say that word.
Yeah.
Nope, not that part.
Yeah, and at what point do you start not editing that,
I think,
like, do you play the unedited version or the edited versions?
It's the unedited version. But
yeah, and it's like, that's fine if my child recognizes the difference. It doesn't carry that over.
Yes. So, in separate situations, we had, conversations with him because maybe he did like blurt out a cuss word. I remember distinctly we was watching Winning Time, and the guy that played what's his name? The owner. I can't even remember anymore. Bus. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He yelled out some cuss word. It was like, what the F, or something like that. And Dom was sitting there just watching it, said it back. Like, whoa, no. So that is a bad word. We do not say that word, even if we heard it on the TV. And he was like, okay. So since then, we haven't heard him say it, which is good. And we also know like the majority of what he's watching is still like, he found Blue's Clues stuff, which is super random. But like he's watching kids shows, so he still watches Mickey Mouse. He still likes Chip and Dale, and he might watch the Goofy movie. But you know, every now and then, if he's with us and we don't want to watch Disney Channel, he'll probably be in the room where we're watching something more mature. So we just create those distinctions. Like that's not a word that, you know, little boys say.
You gotta give him an iPad at that point.
Yeah. For now, he's taking it in. Like, okay, I won't say it. But I'm sure, you know, he's about to be 6 in June. Got a couple more years before I catch him trying to use it, you know, in frequent conversation. And then we'll have to, revisit the conversation.
Man, I still don't curse around elders. I might nowadays, I probably remember my first curse word around my grandmother was when I was 30. You know, I cannot get it. It's like a block.
Nope. I cuss around my parents. There's a limit. So I'll say damn or ass or what the hell.
Yeah.
But I might say, the N word. I might say nigga a couple times, but that's the extent. You know what I'm saying? I still temper it a bit around my grandma, but it's funny because they still be cussing too. So it's like we're adults. I'm an adult. You're an adult. I'm not cussing you out or cussing at you. So it's all right. We can mature this conversation. And also, my uncle be calling me cousin, so I think all of that shit is just out the window. What's up, cousin? What's up, cousin? You got me about 30 years, and you my mama brother. So
that's true.
Yeah. So no, I'm calling you a nigga every now and then, because you acting like it now.
So with the drawing situation with Dom, when do you think you're gonna reintroduce Nerf guns back into it? Back into his life?
I don't know, because the summertime is coming, and I would love for him to be able to for us to play in the backyard and maybe attempt to shoot each other with Nerf guns. But that's also going to come with a conversation this happens here in this backyard, and it does not leave our fence. We're not doing it inside because windows and glass and stuff, but we're also not doing it out in the front yard. We're only doing this in the backyard because the obvious fear that one day somebody sees him, and the tried and true story of somebody making an accusation and calling the police, and now we have the absolute worst case scenario. Right. So it's still a lot of fear with that. So you can't talk about it at school. I don't even know any hacks.
Oh man, they're putting the paintball gun gas cans, and basically putting a switch on Nerf gun. No, it's not gonna work for me. A long time ago, I worked at a separate school, and we had a police officer in the building all the time. And this has been 8 or 9 years ago. And he went through his Facebook, and he just had hey, is this real or is this fake? And I'm and it was a Hello Kitty gun. It was pink. It had Hello Kitty on it. It had the orange tip that you would think that they use for the old cap guns. And he was nope, that's real. I'm what do you mean? He's no, that's a real one. And there's a video to show they're taking it all the way apart. I'm see? And then it was a standard 9, but that was fake. So it's you can never tell sometimes. And if you are hyper vigilant and paranoid, and you see, somebody's holding it in a gun fashion, they're gonna make that call. You're gonna assume, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I had a situation. I was in. What year was this? I can't even remember the actual year, but I was in undergrad. I had to maybe be 18, 19. And I came home to kick it with some friends over the weekend. Nothing crazy at all. And we went to Walmart. This guy that we was cool with at the time decided that he wanted to buy some paintballs. It was all right, not a big deal. No problem, whatever. He went in with the paintball gun. Everybody saw it. We're out in Eastlake. For you know anybody that's from Cleveland listening, it's aggressively white out there. And even in like 2009, it was like even more white than it is now.
Lots of American flags out there.
Oh yeah, all the Trump. Well, they probably have plenty of Trump flags now. They didn't have them then, but like the Bush flags and the anti-Obama flags was like waving. So he went in. Everything was cool. I think it was maybe like 9, 10 o'clock because that Walmart at the time was 24 hours. And he got the paintball guns. He filled it up. We bought it. Everything like normal. All of it's completely standard. And when we got outside, this genius decided, he's like, all right, well, let me, test it out, make sure it works. So he loaded it up and he shot like 3-4 times into the ground. Right. And, paintball on the pat, pat, pat. Especially when it splat. A woman saw it. It's dark. Called the police.
Called the cops.
Yep. And they came. She said essentially like, there's 4 black guys here and they're shooting in the parking lot, waving guns. And before we could make it to the light at the corner, we were surrounded by like 3-4 cars. They all had guns blazing, shotguns, pistols, everything. Whoa. And no, it was scary as shit. And they're all yelling out multiple instructions, just like you've seen in all the videos. Get out, put your hands on the wheel, get down on the ground. So we're like froze. So, we all survived. We all made it out, but they arrested us. They took us to the precinct, and the whole truth came out. The guy said, well, this is what I was doing. I had a paintball gun. You could see it. Y'all got the car. Y'all got the paintball gun. You could see everything I had. I shot it at the ground to test it. So like, they let us go. No charges pressed. Everything was fine. But like that, we could have been another story.
That's traumatic, man.
Yeah.
And that was like right before people started recording everything.
Yeah, because
it was like around the time.
It was a little bit before because, let's see, 2008, 2009, you do have camera phones, but, the images all, looking back, those images were terrible. But the police for sure didn't have body cams.
No. Could have just covered it up.
Yeah, so I think that's like, what, maybe the first or second iPhone?
Yeah.
So like
2006, 2007 might have been the first one.
Yeah, so we're at least 3 generations in. Well, maybe at the most.
Crazy,
but yeah, so I would hate for that to happen to Dom because now I'm a parent. Yeah. So it's having that conversation like, okay, this is only in our house, it's only in our backyard. If you shoot one over the fence, put the toy down. Go outside the fence, grab it, then come back. We're not doing any of this. You just got to be extra cautious.
And I'm sure, get off topic a little bit, but I'm sure that there's going to be a situation in the future where it's going to come full circle on why you told him this. Might not be cognizant of it right now.
Yeah.
But I'm sure with you and Leah, and just being active, supporting parents, and it's like so many thoughts come to mind. Like, when are we gonna not have the conversation? and even if you don't have the conversation, it's like you got to have like the black kid conversation, and then you got to have like the white kid at school with a gun conversation as well.
Yeah.
So it's scary all around, man.
Absolutely.
But not to like take away from this conversation because now we got to the scary part of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is something that I don't think has gone away since we got here in America. That conversation.
Yeah, we'll keep having it. It's that conversation is here to stay. Though people probably get tired of it. And between police and gun control and all of this stuff, it's all going to be, it's not going anywhere. It's pretty much the fabric of, what America is.
America, yeah. We were the number one exporter of guns to the world.
Yeah.
So it was pretty much a commercial every time.
Yeah.
Something like this happens.
I saw, speaking of guns and TikTok, I was on TikTok and this woman was telling this joke, and she was doing a stand up and she had her hand up. She's like, I'm not American. And if you can look, you can see that I'm like not American because I don't have a gun in my hand. I'm
man,
like,
yeah,
no, that's pretty accurate, because
the perspective of Americans and guns is just like, it's terrible, man.
Yeah, no, it's, can't even fight it anymore. It's just like, I don't even know. Just stay safe.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with the open carry stuff here.
Oh yeah, no, it's not foreign to. It's not foreign to walk into a Walmart and see a guy with a fully loaded just revolver just on his hip. I'm like, sir, what are you gonna do? Shoot the watermelon? Like, what's going on? What's going on?
Yeah,
but like,
crazy.
Also ATL had that one episode where they had like the full shootout in the mall.
Oh, I haven't seen a new season.
Oh my goodness, the new season was insane. Just from like a mental aspect, like you really don't know what's going on. Like the stuff that they did in the second to last season, it's like, okay, this took like a very weird artistic turn. They just kind of like ramped it up for the final season. So, and some of it was like, let's just take a shot at America, and this is kind of what we see. This is the culture. But there was a full scene where there was just like, there was somebody came in with like a machine gun, and he was gonna, shoot up the mall. But at the same time, everybody also was like carrying, just because, could see a weapon. So like now there's like a full shootout at the mall, like everybody's shooting each other and nobody knows what's going on. And I can't even remember if like the actual shooter was hit.
Jeez.
But it was nuts. You have to see it. The final season was really good. Donald Glover did not pay me to say that. But I enjoyed it. That's
good. I listened to part of the podcast with your dad.
Yeah.
Didn't get through the whole thing, but it's interesting to hear about, like, I think I ended around, or stopped listening around when he was talking about, your relationship with your sister.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, yeah, everything was pretty smooth with you had given basically your sister her name, her nickname.
Yeah.
And do you see some carryover, I guess, with your kids?
No.
Or what
yes
are
no.
your like expectations with the relationship between your kids?
I don't know. Because at this juncture in my life, I have a difficult relationship with my sister.
How much older are you? You said like 5 years or something?
I'm 4 years.
4 years.
4 years older. I guess like 4.5 if you want to like, get specific.
It's not rooted in like adolescence, right? It's like more adult based tension.
I think I think it all started in adolescence. Where I think most things do start. But you don't realize how much it kind of affects you until you're an adult. But now it just looks like adult problems. So it's kind of hard to that. No, not too much.
Like thinking about the agenda and
well, I'll say this. I'll say I do want the best for my sister. It's never like a place of hate or anything like that. I do believe that, she is on her own path, and she recently moved from here to Alabama, or moved back to Alabama.
Yeah.
And I think this is a really good point for her to just kind of like branch out and grow a little bit. Because I do recall that at one point she really felt like she was like in my shadow. Because I'm the
Mm-hmm.
older brother, and then, you know, we of course went to the same high school, but when your older sibling goes to the high school, it's like, oh, you're Dion's little sister, and you know, you're kind of stuck in that. And
Oh yeah.
then though we have a stepbrother, my dad had a son before us, but he like has lived with us off and on, but not for, you know, years now. So being the youngest in the household, but also the youngest of like three, it's just this very weird dynamic that she's had to navigate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think she thought that my parents kind of viewed me as like a golden child. Um, and so she kind of felt that weight. But now she's down there, and I think that she could really kind of create her own path.
Yeah.
So I think this like physical separation is going to be really beneficial for her. But you know, it took a long time to get there. It took a lot of arguments to get there. You know, a lot of trials, a lot of tribulations. So
Mm-hmm.
we're still like on the back end, or maybe in the middle of it. I don't know, but that creates like a rift. So now we look at my two kids, and I'm like, well, I do think a older brother is supposed to be protective. I do think an older brother should carry some deal of responsibility in being there for the younger sister or the younger sibling.
Mm-hmm.
But at no point is the older sibling a parent. So like, I don't want Dom to feel like he is a third parent, because that's how
Yeah.
I felt. I felt like, you know, anytime my sister, you know, was snapping at my mom or talking crazy about my dad or just like kind of wild out in the streets, my
You a
parents would look,
discipliner?
well, they would look to me like, well, you need to talk to your sister. And I'm like, I am,
That's a lot of responsibility,
yeah, like
man.
I am
Like I have no
19.
experience in that.
I'm 20 years old. I have a hangover. Why am I trying to, you know, why am I the one that you're calling on?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, well, like, you know, I don't know, you're be a good big brother. I'm like, first of all, I don't really know what that means, because
Yeah.
y'all weren't, you know, my mother's the youngest of six. So everybody, I'm the baby girl, I'm the baby girl. And then my dad was raised separate from his siblings, and he's also the oldest of five. So it's like the sibling thing,
No lessons there.
not one. And as adults, they lived completely away from them, because if I'm growing up in Alaska, the closest, you know, there's nobody close. There's nothing close to Alaska. Like
Right.
not in the slightest. Um, and then when we moved to Louisiana, I am 8, 9, 10 years old, but it's taking like 2 hours to get to Mobile to my dad's family. But again, he grew up separate from them. So it's like, you know, that how to be a sibling thing wasn't really there. So, you know, I don't want to be, at the end of the day, I never wanted to be or feel like my sister's third parent. And I don't want Dom to feel like that either.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, oh boy, does it feel good to say, Dom, can you just like get your sister off of this mirror so it doesn't fall on her?
Yeah.
Because now
When
she's crawling.
we were at your place for your birthday.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen each other twice this year.
Oh, damn. Wow.
And Dom was in the TV room
Yeah.
with Dion, and he had came into the dining room where we were, and you guys were like, "You just left your little sister in the room." And Dom came up and he was like, "I'm going upstairs," and you guys were like, "You just left her in there by herself?"
Because he's good for it. He's good for it. But now She's a super crawler.
So she'll follow him.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. You know, but like between the tile and the hardwood, her knees start to hurt, so she got to take breaks. And since he's like in full sprint, he's gone, and she's just like,
yeah. Help me.
But you know, it is good to see like he has these moments where he really cares for her. He wants to hug her and play with her and be next to her. But also he's like, okay, well, I'm out. I'm about to go play with my cars. And I'm like, no, that's fine. Like, go play with your cars. I will get her because she's my daughter.
Yeah. Yeah, I think about that. Me and my older brother from my father and mother, and then my father remarried and had 3 younger kids.
Okay.
And so 2 stepbrothers, half. 2 half brothers, 1 half sister.
Mm-hmm.
And when we joined them, when I was 6 years old, 6, yeah, I want to say 6. I was like a baby at the time, and it was just me. It was my sister, and my stepmother was pregnant with my little brother. So I was like, "Oh, I'm still used to being the baby," you know?
Yeah.
And so that was the expectation for me, and I was like, didn't develop emotionally because I was the center of attention for a very long time. But when it was time for my older brother to be a parent, he was kind of like, there was no in between. It was like, do this.
Yeah. But
he was also the smartest in the family and the most, I guess, gifted. And so when we went to college together, he's a year above me. Everybody was like, "Oh, you're Chaz's little brother," and I'm like complete opposite of my brother. And even post college, he would, be telling me what to do, and it was helpful when I got older. But when you're in the thick of it, you're like, "I don't want to do any of this. This isn't beneficial to me."
Yeah.
But even though I didn't apply it specifically to, like, he was like, "You should learn coding because I'm about to be into coding." I didn't get into it, obviously, but it just allowed me to have a broader view of things.
Yeah.
And even if it wasn't beneficial right then and there, I can now communicate to people within that realm. So, shout out to Chaz. He was hard-nosed. He was definitely a third parent for sure, but he still is kind of like in that mode where, like, I'll be like, I'm interested in this. And he'll be like, oh, here's an Amazon order with the book that tells you all about this.
He just arrives at your doorstep. Hey, Ed.
Yeah. Like, we'll be talking about our childhood and like recipes that we had when we were young, and then 2 days later, a cookbook comes.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, no, he's good he's good in that respect, and still tries to like nurture interest, which is what a parent does. Now that we're both parents, his daughter was born 3 months after Cash, so we're like, the kids were born in the same year. We're still learning the same lessons, so now it's like we can kind of be in the same realm, like that.
Yeah.
And I think he's like, in a way, realizing all the things he's done has kind of like propelled him to be a little better now.
Okay.
And I'm like, he's like my dad parent in a way. So, it's weird. But, yeah.
But I think it's having it as your sibling. I think that does create an interesting dynamic. But like having I guess like a dad mentor, right? It's kind of important, to have somebody to, okay, I did this, well, y'all kids are the same age, but like,
that's not your dad though.
Yeah.
Like a dad mentor is not your dad for sure.
Yeah. It's not your dad, but like he has these lessons, or maybe he's learned these lessons and now he can pass it on to you in a way. But hopefully it's also not your dad.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've had pretty good uncles growing up, but I didn't really understand, like, I don't want to say family structure because there was structure, but like what I envisioned and finally matched up in terms of good parenting until really I got to college and like I was around, I would say, you lived in the South. So
Yeah.
there's like black elite families there that
Mm-hmm.
I went to school with that are founded like on traditions and, you know, and
Absolutely.
it was the first time I've seen kids have daily conversations with their parents.
Oh.
And, oh, you guys actually talk daily to them? Call them for advice and heed their advice, and you know
Yeah.
they're there, and it's like, whoa, this is. I'm not saying that my upbringing, but my parents were, they both passed when I was younger,
Mm-hmm.
so and I found myself like in a situation where I was trying to emulate that post college, like the family structure. And I was like, oh, I don't really have this yet. Like
Yeah.
they have wealth, they have money, and
That's a big thing.
two, yeah, it's a pretty big thing. And two, like they have like really strong foundational principles
Mm-hmm.
that they have nurtured over the years, and it's like, oh, how can I make that my own instead of copying and pasting? So I'm still developing that.
Well, I think that's important though, right?
Yeah.
Because they have created essentially the blueprint. So like, even if
Mm-hmm.
you did take it and copy and paste it, right, you're going to find like, all right, well, this particular
Works
piece
yeah,
doesn't really
doesn't
work.
work.
You
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like swap it out. But now you have, all right, well, this is how I want it to look for the most part. And then you
Yeah.
start to kind of like create your own picture with it. So like, for me, I have I had this one family. We had moved to Louisiana, so I'm like 8 years old, and I started playing football. They had like a city football league, and it literally like every Saturday morning, the city was shut down, and everybody is there. They had
Mm-hmm.
3 major high schools in the city, but everybody, who was in the elementary schools from all across the city played there. So we ended up meeting this one family, and became like great family friends, and we ended up going to like their house to like hang out one day, and like they had like 30-foot ceilings, and they had an Escalade. It was the first Escalade I seen at the time. I'm like, oh, this is
Mm-hmm.
nice. Like, y'all niggas got money.
Yeah.
And we weren't, broke, but we wasn't that. So I'm like, okay, well, this is what it is. And later down the line, like, I don't know, like their parents are still together, no matter what issues they may or may not have had. And I like, okay, well, my parents had a divorce and things like that. So it's like, this is what I want. I
Mm-hmm.
want
Is this the
this
same family
marriage.
where you were like, you gotta eat a vegetable with every meal?
Yeah. I wasn't like fucking with salads until I went over there. I spent the night and they made us eat salads. And I'm like, what is this? Like, I mean, I knew what a salad was. I'm like, I'm not gonna make me eat no fucking salad. The small piece of meat in a salad. Okay. All right. Yeah, maybe y'all won't get diabetes, but fuck it. But yeah, actually no, I appreciate them for that.
Yeah.
I appreciate them for that. But they're a family of athletes, so like all of them play basketball, all of them, the 2-3 sport athletes to this day. I think they kind of transitioned from like, I think their dad transitioned from basketball to like volleyball. It's kind of hard to be 50 plus jumping with the young boys.
Still jumping
Um,
though.
I know. And he a Q, so he still got to keep his knees so he can hop around and shit. Um, but yeah, so it's like I started taking like different pieces from like my friends' family structures. Like, okay, this is the type of stuff I want, maybe like a little bit more materialistic, but like but they have like the family structure I want, or,
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of like pick and choose and just like piecemeal the stuff together and kept a couple things from my own family. And like
Part of
trying
it's
to
also
create this.
drawing on who you are. Like,
Yeah,
I am much more creative than I am analytical.
absolutely.
And like, how do you make that? I guess like a creed of the family.
Yeah.
Making sure that everyone has that quality, that's supportive of that quality, but also, pivoting to see what your child's strengths are within that too.
Yeah. If I was to say what Dom's strengths are right now, I'd probably say numbers.
That's great, man.
I know. Like we could go really far. We can go really far with these numbers. Like whether we're talking, accounting, if we're talking engineering, chemistry. I don't care. We have numbers. Like, let's go.
That's great.
He's always playing with numbers. He's always doing like little math problems in his head and asking me what my timetables are. But I'm like, sir, I know mine. And you're 5. I need you to like stop asking me and stop practicing, like testing me, because I know these answers, and I know I know these answers. I just need to make sure that you also know these answers. Like, well, Daddy, I know the answers. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna start quizzing you now.
I'm 5 is pretty impressive.
No, really. I mean, we're not doing double digits, but he is doing like the 9 blocks. 9 times 4, 9 times 5. So like he's,
We were at Sylvia's family's house the other night, and we were doing times tables. And we were going around, like me, Sylvia's brother, Sylvia's mom, doing the 9s, and everyone was kind of stumbling.
Yeah, no, 9 times 5 kind of gets you. Like, hold on.
Is anything past 5 is like, let me think about this.
Yeah, you start pulling out your fingers. It's rough. You got to look out for it.
Mm-hmm. That's good, man. I think if I had to choose, and I'm not going to choose, but if I had to choose, it would definitely be within the realm of engineering, law, medical, in that realm. Because those are like the professions that can really change a family around.
Yeah. Because it's something that, we all kind of need. At some point, you're probably going to know somebody that needs a lawyer. You're going to need, health is always on the list. And if you have somebody that's in, like, one of those categories, hopefully, you'll be all right.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So, I think we're going to, that's all I have. I don't think I have anything else. You got anything else?
Just want to shout out again the MadBlackDaddy happy hour next week.
Yeah.
Cleveland area. Stop by. It's always a good time. It is in a gallery if you're into that.
Definitely art gallery, Deep Roots experience.
Dave, the owner, is a father as well. I think he's having a second kid, right?
Yeah.
Pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's a 2-for-1. And then you get, you get a bunch of dads coming together, drinking.
Free drinks.
It's kind of like, free drinks. It's kind of like just chilling, hanging on the front porch. Definitely a good time. The next day is actually a baby shower. Tim's baby shower is the next day.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
But yeah, definitely looking forward to that. You want to shout out the donations?
Yeah, Mad Black Closet is always accepting donations. Men's clothes, boys' clothes, brand new, still packaged underclothes, t-shirts, socks, underclothes. All sizes are welcome. I don't have a new pop-up coming up yet, but I'll be planning to get one out. So, springtime is coming. Hopefully sooner than later, even though we did get a little snow last night.
Yeah, we did. Welcome to smell freaking brick outside, man.
Yeah, but it's all right though. It's all right. Ohio is interesting, and we we get our most snow in January, February. It's still a little chilly around March, but sometimes you can get snow all the way up to April. But it's finicky. It's really finicky, but you'll see.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I have no complaints about Ohio, except for, well, actually none. I'm all good.
Yeah, well, we'll
It's a
see
pretty
once
cool
you leave.
place.
Once you leave Cleveland and get to like some of the other parts, it's like you got
Oh,
Cleveland, and then you got Trump country, and then you got Columbus, and then you got Trump country, and then you got Dayton, and then you got Trump country, and then you got Cincinnati, and
I mean, that's every state.
pretty much. I mean, Ohio
You
is
got
the north of the south.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of comparisons to Florida here.
Oh yeah. It's getting bad. I could see Ohio joining that list of states to try to ban porn.
What?
Yeah, no.
They're doing that?
Louisiana requires you to have identification in order to watch porn.
Whoa.
So yeah.
Because wasn't there like most searched porn term like?
I don't know if that has anything to do with the bill, but those southern states was
It was like sibling something.
yeah, it was getting some bad stuff down in some of those southern states and those mountain states. But yeah, I don't know if that has anything to do with the bill, but I do know that since then I think Florida, I want to say Florida, Kentucky, and Arkansas.
That could
all
backfire
jumped
on them. Politically, that could backfire on them.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that backfires on them, but they don't care.
Because if they're mandating that people need to have IDs registered, then you can't say anything about voter law. But anyway, that's another topic.
Yeah, well. So yeah, they're looking to require photo ID, which I just can't imagine signing in, like putting my actual age or like scanning my ID so that you can see my Pornhub. No, it's just not. It's not happening. It's not happening. I'll just stop watching it altogether, which I probably should.
I'm just get a VPN.
Yeah. Well, that's also too much work. I don't have time for that either. But that's a different story. That's a different story for a different day.
They edit this part out.
No, we might have to keep it. Whatever.
Part of the MadBlackDaddy ethos.
Yeah, because dads watch porn. I'm not gonna tell you why, but they watch it. Shit.
Sure.
All right, man. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for listening. We'll be back soon with another episode of Mad Black Dad Podcast.
All right. Thanks for having me. I'll be back again.
I hope so.
All right, man.